before I started doing heroin, I realized that I knew at the beginning that it would become just as boring as marijuana does, you know.
You on anything right now?
Well, of course I'm on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. Carlos Estevez. Carlos Sheen.
Who gave you the best piece of advice?
Somebody's on me about fucking smoking. He's like, smoking is like, you're gonna die from fucking smoking. It's like.
When was the last time you used? When was the last time you used? Are you on anything right now? Are you willing to take a drug test? You love to party. Tell me about the last time you took drugs.
Think you know everything about your favorite stars? Hollywood's bright lights can't always hide its darkest secrets. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 20 most shocking drug addictions that have rocked the industry. These are stories of struggle, downfall, and the hidden battles that make headlines. Keep watching and witness the real price of fame. Let's start. Number 20, Janis Joplin.
Did Janis Joplin bring tattoos to the mainstream? How deep did her love of the blues really go? And did the severe bullying she faced in her hometown ultimately lead to her untimely death? Keep watching to learn the truth.
Janis Joplin exploded onto the scene in the 1960s, first making waves as the lead singer of Big Brother and the Holding Company before launching a successful solo career. With hits like Piece of My Heart and Me and Bobby McGee, Janis became a rock legend, known for her powerful voice and raw, emotional performances. But behind the scenes, Janis was battling some serious demons. Her rise to fame was shadowed by a growing addiction to heroin, along with alcohol and other substances. Despite her success, Janis struggled with feelings of loneliness and possibly undiagnosed mental health issues.
Your future. How do you think your future looks at this point?
I don't know. I'm planning on having a good time. As long as I can.
Including manic depression. The pressures of being in the spotlight only made things worse, pushing her deeper into addiction. By 1970, Janis was at the height of her career, but her drug use had spiraled out of control. She was doing heavy amounts of heroin daily, and despite attempts to quit, the addiction had a firm grip on her. Tragically, on October 4th, 1970, she was found dead in her hotel room from a heroin overdose at just 27 years old, joining the infamous 27 Club of musicians who died at that age. Janis's story highlights the dangers of addiction and the need for support, especially under the pressures of fame. Her legacy endures, but her struggles remind us to seek help when needed. Number 19, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
You don't drink.
No, I don't.
In fact, you went into rehab at a fairly early age.
That's what I thought.
Drugs or alcohol or both?
Yes, all that stuff. Yeah. Is anything I can get my hands on? Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was one of Hollywood's most admired and versatile actors, known for his powerful performances in films like Capote, Doubt, and the Hunger Games series. Over his career, he earned an Academy Award for his role as Truman Capote and received multiple Oscar nominations for his work in both leading and supporting roles. Beyond the screen, Hoffman was a respected stage actor and director, co-founding the theater company Labyrinth and earning Tony Award nominations for his performances in plays like Death of a Salesman and Long Day's Journey into Night. But behind the accolades, Hoffman battled a long history of addiction. He turned to alcohol and heroin at a young age, but managed to achieve over 2 decades of sobriety. Tragically, after years of being clean, he relapsed and was found dead from a heroin overdose in 2014 at the age of 46.
New clues and evidence emerging about Philip Seymour Hoffman's death and what he said in his final days. Police say he died in a house full of heroin, dozens of packets of the drug found in his apartment, his family and friends now being questioned.
Hoffman's story is a sobering reminder of how addiction can persist, even after years of sobriety. His death underscores the risks of relapse and the devastating consequences it can have, not just for those in the spotlight, but for anyone struggling with addiction. Number 18, Jim Morrison.
Poet, rock god, lizard king, rock and roll icon. Jim Morrison was a tortured soul who wound up a member of the unfortunate 27 Club, unless he faked his own death, that is. The singer's drinking habits were equally legendary.
Name? Jim. Occupation.
Jim Morrison, the legendary frontman of The Doors, is as famous for his wild lifestyle as he is for his music. Known for his deep voice and poetic lyrics, Jim quickly rose to rock stardom in the late 1960s. But as his fame grew, so did his struggles with drugs and alcohol. His heavy use of these substances led to erratic behavior, legal troubles, and increasing tensions within his band. Morrison's drug use wasn't just part of his image, it became a dangerous addiction that took a severe toll on his life and career. Despite the success of The Doors, Jim's substance abuse spiraled out of control. His chaotic lifestyle eventually led him to Paris, where he sought to escape the pressures of fame. Unfortunately, this escape was short-lived. Morrison was found dead in his Paris apartment on July 3, 1971, at just 27 years old. He joined the infamous 27 Club, a group of iconic musicians who died at that age, including Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin. Jim Morrison's life is a stark reminder that addiction can affect anyone, regardless of success or talent. His story underscores the dangers of substance abuse and the need to seek help before it's too late. Though his legacy endures, his tragic end highlights the urgency of addressing addiction. Number 17, Whitney Houston.
The legendary singer Whitney Houston died tragically on February 11, 2012, when she accidentally drowned in a bathtub after ingesting cocaine. But what were the events leading up to this icon's tragic passing?
Whitney Houston was an icon, known for her incredible voice and chart-topping hits. But her life behind the scenes was far from glamorous. Whitney, who sold over 170 million records and won 6 Grammys, struggled deeply with addiction.
If you had to name the devil for you, the biggest devil among them?
That would be me.
It all started as a rebellion against the pressures of fame, trying to escape the image crafted for her by music execs. Despite the facade of being a pop princess, Whitney was a girl from Newark, New Jersey, who felt trapped by the expectations placed on her. Her relationship with Bobby Brown only added fuel to the fire. Their marriage was explosive, and their love story was tangled with drug use. Whitney's addiction worsened over the years, with her family and friends deeply worried as they watched her spiral. Even her daughter, Bobby Christina, often had to care for her when things got really bad. In the end, despite multiple attempts at rehab, Whitney couldn't escape the clutches of addiction. Her tragic death at 48 in 2012 marked the end of an incredible singing and acting career while underscoring the devastating cost of celebrity drug abuse. Whitney left behind a musical legacy and a story of struggle. Her life is a stark reminder of how fame's pressures can drive even the brightest stars into darkness. Number 16, Keith Richards. Keith Richards has lived a rock and roll life filled with wild stories and near-death experiences. The Rolling Stones guitarist, who has survived countless hedonistic escapades, has endured more than most could imagine. During the 1970s, Keith's life was a whirlwind of drug use and reckless behavior. The addiction wasn't just a personal struggle, it also took a toll on the Rolling Stones' music. Mick Jagger once noted that the band's creative output suffered because Keith, in particular, was heavily involved with drugs.
Tired of expensive, low-effort script writers for your YouTube channel? Autoscripter.ai is the ultimate solution. Say goodbye to low-quality, poorly retention amateur scripts that fail to generate thousands of views for your channel. At a fraction of the cost, Autoscripter.ai helps your videos go viral. In just 3 steps, Autoscripter.ai creates a polished script tailored to your needs. Just input your title concept, select your tone and style. The intuitive interface makes editing and refining effortless, fast, smart, and trusted by hundreds of satisfied users who have already discovered the amazing tool. Start your free trial today and watch Autoscripter.ai transform your YouTube channel. Just click the link in the video description below now.
Richards has 5 drug charges to his name. Despite these run-ins with the law, he didn't kick the habit like many others did. Instead, his reason for quitting was sheer boredom. In 2018, Richards claimed drugs had become institutionalized and bland, and boasted about having tried them all. One of his most nightmarish experiences occurred during a European tour when someone laced his drugs with strychnine. Keith recounted being in a comatose state but fully aware, listening to people think he was dead. This harrowing incident, where he was conscious but unable to move, was a turning point that led him to abandon drugs, not out of necessity, but out of disinterest. Today, Keith's life has settled compared to his chaotic past, but he remains a legendary figure with stories that continue to fascinate fans. Number 15, Steven Tyler.
Think the jars of Xanax and surprise paternity revelations is all there is to know about Steven Tyler? Dream on.
I just want to get out there and rock and roll, and I love being with the band, and I love looking at pretty women in the front row. That's really what it's all about.
Steven Tyler's journey from rock and roll wild man to sober superstar is nothing short of extraordinary. Known for his powerful voice and as one half of Aerosmith's Toxic Twins, Tyler spent decades battling drug addiction. His career skyrocketed in the 70s, with Aerosmith becoming a rock sensation.
On the keyboards, Mr. Buck Johnson!
However, behind the scenes, Tyler's life was dominated by heavy drug use and erratic behavior, which took a toll on both his health and the band. Tyler struggled with addiction despite several rehab attempts. It took him 4 tries over many years to achieve lasting sobriety. Initially, he resisted his bandmates' concerns, fearing sobriety would stifle his creativity. Yet his near-fatal experiences and the ultimatum from Aerosmith pushed him towards recovery. Tyler once spent around $6 million on drugs and lived through harrowing highs and lows, including a serious fall on stage due to intoxication. Today, at 76, Tyler has been sober for over a decade. His dedication to sobriety and love for rock and roll continues to shine. However, in September 2023, Tyler suffered a fractured larynx during a concert. By August 2024, the band announced they would no longer tour, citing Tyler's inability to fully recover from the vocal injury. Tyler's story remains a powerful reminder of the struggles with addiction and the strength needed to overcome them. Number 14, Kurt Cobain.
Nirvana lead singer and chief songwriter Kurt Cobain struggled mightily with stardom and often bore the weight of his generation's problems. Sadly, these pressures became too much, and Cobain took his own life in April 1994. Here's how his tragic final days played out.
Kurt Cobain was the iconic frontman of Nirvana, whose music defined a generation. Grunge music exploded in the early 90s, and Nirvana's Nevermind, released in September 1991, was a game changer. It was raw, real, and resonated with millions. But behind the scenes, Kurt Cobain was battling demons that would eventually overshadow his music. Kurt's struggles started early. After his parents' divorce when he was 9, he felt a deep sense of abandonment. This pain, coupled with unstable living conditions and early exposure to drugs, set the stage for his later struggles. By his teens, he was using marijuana, alcohol, and even huffing solvents. Heroin became a significant part of his life as Nirvana's success skyrocketed. Despite his fame, Kurt's addiction worsened. His drug use was intense, impacting his health and personal life. In 1994, the chaos of his addiction reached a peak. Kurt overdosed in March, had a major crisis with his wife Courtney Love, and then vanished from rehab. Tragically, he was found dead in April 1994 with heroin and Valium in his system. Kurt's story is a powerful reminder of the harsh realities behind the spotlight. If you or someone you know is struggling with similar issues, please seek help. Number 13, Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe. Oh, you know, they ask you questions like, just an example, what do you wear to bed? Do you wear a pajama top, the bottoms of the pajamas, or a nightgown? So I say Chanel number 5.
Marilyn Monroe, a true icon of the 20th century, captivated millions with her beauty and charm. She rose from a troubled childhood of poverty and abandonment to become one of Hollywood's most legendary figures. But her glamorous public persona masked a life marred by deep personal struggles. Monroe's fame came at a significant cost. As her career soared, so did her battles with insomnia, depression, and anxiety. She turned to alcohol and prescription drugs to cope, which only worsened her health issues. Her struggles were compounded by relentless public scrutiny and the pressures of maintaining her star image. Her own writings, revealed decades after her death, provide insight into her inner turmoil. Monroe's diaries and poems show a woman grappling with insecurity and a deep fear of rejection, stemming from her traumatic past. Despite her success, she found little solace in the spotlight and eventually succumbed to a barbiturate overdose in 1962. Monroe's story highlights the harsh realities of celebrity life and the impact of addiction and mental health struggles. If you or someone you know is dealing with similar issues, remember to seek help. Her life serves as a reminder of the importance of addressing these challenges openly and compassionately. Number 12. Corey Haim.
Corey Haim, star of such 80s films as The Lost Boys, battled addiction and the aftermath of child stardom for the better part of his life, which was sadly cut short in 2010. This is the tragic story of Corey Haim.
Corey Haim, once a major teen star in the mid-80s, struggled with a turbulent life that ultimately led to his tragic end. Rising to fame with roles in hits like Lucas and The Lost Boys, Haim's career seemed unstoppable. But behind the facade, his life was a constant battle with addiction and personal demons. By his late teens, Haim's life was unraveling. Despite numerous attempts at rehab, he went 15 times. His struggles with drugs only worsened. His addiction began with cocaine and escalated to crack, affecting his career and personal life. The fame that once seemed so promising turned into a nightmare of financial problems and self-destructive behavior. Haim's challenges were compounded by his traumatic experiences. He later revealed disturbing details of being sexually abused as a young actor in Hollywood, adding to the weight of his personal struggles. His public battles with addiction and mental health were a constant backdrop to his life, overshadowing his once brilliant career. Despite his attempts to reclaim his life, including an appearance on reality TV with his best friend Corey Feldman, Haim's health deteriorated. He died at 38 in 2010, surrounded by prescription drugs and in the arms of his mother. His death marked an end to a life marred by amazing talent and deep struggles. Number 11. Courtney Love. Courtney Love, best known as the lead singer of the band Hole and the wife of late Kurt Cobain, was a major figure in the 90s grunge scene. But her career was often overshadowed by her wild antics and battles with drug addiction. Courtney's struggles with drugs were no secret. In the early 2000s, she admitted to using drugs while on probation, overdosed on painkillers, and was charged with illegal possession of narcotics. One of the most shocking revelations was that she used heroin while pregnant with her daughter, Frances, which led her to losing custody of her as an infant. Courtney's descent into addiction reportedly began at a mid-90s party hosted by Charlie Sheen, where drugs were rampant. She claims to have kicked her heroin habit in 1996, though she had a relapse in 2005, even attempting to take her own life. By 2012, Courtney identified as sober, though she admitted prescription pills didn't count in her mind. In 2015, she told David Letterman she was done with drugs, but only she knows the full truth. Today, Courtney's story highlights the harsh realities of addiction, even as she continues to rebuild her life. Number 10. John Belushi.
John is an American hero, and his life was an American tragedy.
We all thought we were invincible back then. I mean, who doesn't when they're 23, 24 years old?
He was a good man, but a bad boy, but extremely funny.
He's a comic genius with a fatal flaw. Tragically, in 24 hours, Belushi will be dead, poisoned by a toxic overload of drugs.
John Belushi was a comedic genius whose life was as intense as his performances. Born in Chicago in 1949, Belushi's love for comedy led him to create his own troupe before joining Chicago's Second City, where he met Dan Aykroyd. This duo would later make history on Saturday Night Live, turning Belushi into a household name. But with fame came struggle. Belushi's rise to stardom in films like Animal House and The Blues Brothers was meteoric, but so was his descent into drug addiction. The pressures of Hollywood and his insecurities led him to heavily abuse cocaine. On the set of The Blues Brothers, His drug use escalated, with a budget even set aside for cocaine during night shoots. As Belushi's success grew, so did his addiction.
Without realizing it, over the 3 years he worked on the show, Belushi developed the addiction to cocaine that he would struggle with for the rest of his life.
His later years were marked by frustration with his career and increasing drug use, leading to his tragic death on March 5, 1982, at just 33. Belushi's final days were a blur of drugs and despair, ending with a fatal overdose. Today, he remains a cautionary tale about the dark side of fame and the devastating impact of addiction. Number 9. Matthew Perry.
Better known as the witty and sarcastic Chandler Bing from the legendary sitcom Friends, Matthew Perry is an American-Canadian of many talents. He's an actor, comedian, screenwriter, playwright, and executive producer.
Matthew Perry, forever known as Chandler Bing from the iconic sitcom Friends, was one of TV's most beloved stars. His quick wit and charm made him a household name, but behind the scenes, Perry struggled with severe addiction issues. Perry's battle with addiction began after a watercraft accident, where he was prescribed painkillers and quickly became dependent on them. Despite his success in movies like The Whole Nine Yards and 17 Again, and guest roles in shows like The West Wing, Perry's life was marked with multiple attempts at recovery, near-death experiences, and a constant fight against alcohol and prescription drug use. On October 28, 2023, Perry was tragically found unresponsive in a hot tub at his Los Angeles home, passing away at the age of 54. The cause of death was revealed to be the acute effects of ketamine, with contributing factors including buprenorphine, drowning, and coronary artery disease. In the aftermath, the Matthew Perry Foundation was established to help those suffering from addiction, continuing Perry's legacy of trying to support others even as he faced his own battles. His story is a powerful reminder of the struggles that can accompany fame and the importance of seeking help. Number 8. Ryan O'Neal.
And one of the biggest Hollywood stars of the 1970s has died. Ryan O'Neal, star of Love Story and Paper Moon, died in Los Angeles at the age of 82 years old.
Ryan O'Neal, known for his charming role in the 1970 hit Love Story, was more than just a movie star. He was a headline magnet for his personal life. The film made him a major star, earning him an Oscar nomination and becoming the highest-grossing film of that year. But O'Neal's career was often overshadowed by his fiery temper and struggles with drugs and alcohol. O'Neal's personal life was a whirlwind of high-profile romances, with stars like Barbra Streisand and Farrah Fawcett. His family life was just as dramatic, marked by a series of legal troubles. He once tried to hit on his own daughter, Tatum, and was arrested for firing a gun at his son, Griffin.
It's another mugshot for Ryan O'Neal, this time with his 23-year-old son, Redmond. The two were arrested Wednesday when a probation officer found meth.
He also faced charges related to a fatal boating accident and was caught with methamphetamine at his home in Malibu in 2008. His relationship with Tatum, who won an Oscar at just 10 years old for Paper Moon, was strained and full of conflict, leading to a 25-year estrangement. Despite their brief reconciliation on the reality show Ryan and Tatum, the O'Neals, the rift remained. O'Neal's career was filled with both triumphs and troubles, and his life was a vivid testament to the ups and downs of fame. He passed away at 82, leaving behind a legacy as complex as his personal life. Number 7. Lane Staley.
By the time Lane Staley passed away, the Alice in Chains singer was physically and emotionally crippled by his drug addiction, so isolated that no publicly available pictures exist from this period. This is what the final 12 months of his life were like.
Lane Staley, the iconic frontman of Alice in Chains, was a defining voice of the grunge era, but his life was marred by intense personal struggles. Born into a tumultuous environment, with his parents' divorce and his father's addiction, Staley's own battle with drugs began early. Despite his incredible talent, Staley's addiction to heroin cast a long shadow over his career and personal life. Staley's struggles were evident as they affected his band's work, causing delays and impacting performances. He made numerous attempts to quit drugs, but his addiction ultimately led to his tragic death from a speedball overdose at just 34. In a haunting interview with Rolling Stone in 1996, he expressed a deep sense of regret about his addiction, revealing the personal and emotional toll it took on him. He reflected on the painful transformation he saw in Kurt Cobain and feared experiencing a similar fate. Staley's comments about his own struggles and his disillusionment with fame, combined with his emotional vulnerability, paint a powerful picture of a man trapped by his demons. His final public appearances showed the toll addiction had taken on him, marking a somber end to a once vibrant career. Number 6. Carrie Fisher.
An on-screen princess haunted by addiction and health issues gone too soon. Her autopsy shares the demons in the details. The world reacted with sadness when the news broke that iconic and beloved actress and writer Carrie Fisher died on December 27, 2016, 4 days after she went into cardiac arrest on a flight to Los Angeles, California.
Carrie Fisher, the iconic Princess Leia from Star Wars, captured hearts with her charm and resilience, but her real-life struggles were often far from the spotlight. Carrie Fisher was more than just Leia. She was a talented writer, script doctor, and mental health advocate. Despite her success, Carrie faced significant personal challenges, including addiction and bipolar disorder. From a young age, she battled with substance abuse, using drugs and alcohol to cope with Hollywood's pressures and her own emotional pain. During filming of The Empire Strikes Back, Carrie admitted to using cocaine, describing it as a means to handle the stress of the job. Her battle with addiction was complicated by her bipolar disorder, creating a tough situation where her mental health and substance use intertwined. Though she experienced periods of sobriety, including a notable 8-year stretch, Carrie's journey was marked by relapses. Her openness about these struggles made her an inspiring figure, advocating for mental health and addiction recovery. Addiction was a lifelong battle for the Star Wars actress. She often spoke and wrote about her experiences with drug and alcohol use disorder and recovery, as well as her bipolar disorder. Fisher died in 2016 at age 60, after going into cardiac arrest on a transatlantic flight. Her story remains a powerful reminder of resilience and the impact of sharing our struggles. Number 5. Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse had already been a huge name in the world of music for nearly half a decade when her millions of fans heard the shocking news of her death at the age of 27 in July 2011.
Amy Winehouse was a rising star whose talent shone brightly with her Grammy-winning album Back to Black in 2006. But her promising career was marred by struggles with drug and alcohol addiction, which overshadowed her musical achievements. From a young age, Winehouse was a rebel, pushing boundaries and expressing her independence through her music and lifestyle. Her debut album, Frank, made waves, but it was during the height of her success that her addiction issues began to spiral. Her chaotic relationship with Blake Fielder Civil introduced her to hard drugs and became a major influence on her music and life. Despite brief periods of sobriety, including a notable stint around the 2008 Grammys, Winehouse's addiction continued to dominate her life. Her erratic behavior and substance abuse led to canceled tours and a troubled public image. She faced multiple rehab stints but struggled to stay clean. Amy Winehouse's life tragically ended on July 23, 2011 from alcohol poisoning, with her blood alcohol level far exceeding the legal limit. Her story is a somber reminder of the toll addiction can take, even on Hollywood stars. Number 4. Judy Garland.
Dr. Hunter has found something in Judy's records that could have helped her to put on a brave face.
Looking at numerous news reports and testimonies from people who knew Judy, it's clear that she, over a long period of time, used multiple prescription medications. The most significant of these is amphetamine, also known as speed, uppers, pep pills. It's a synthetic stimulant. They increase breathing and heart rate, and the users tend to feel more alert, energetic, and confident. Was this a long-term addiction, or was this some sort of short-term fix?
Judy Garland's journey is both a tale of immense talent and heartbreaking struggles. From her early start in Hollywood, Judy faced immense pressure. At just 16, while filming The Wizard of Oz, she was subjected to harsh treatment, sexually harassed by co-stars, controlled by studio executives, and placed on a strict diet that would eventually lead to a lifelong battle with drug addiction. The pressures of fame started early for Judy. Even as a child, she was given stimulants by her mother to keep up with the demands of showbiz, and then sedated to rest. As she grew older, the stress didn't let up. MGM executives responsible for her career also contributed to her struggles, feeding her more drugs to manage her weight and keep her working long hours. Despite her talent and success, Judy's personal life was marred by addiction and emotional pain. Multiple marriages, battles with depression, and even suicide attempts highlighted the dark side of her fame. Sadly, in 1969, Garland passed away at just 47. Her life cut short by an accidental overdose, a heartbreaking end to a life that had brought so much joy to others. Number 3, Robert Downey Jr.
Before Robert Downey Jr. was a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist on the big screen, he was a troubled young man with addiction problems in real life. The critically acclaimed actor has had some painful experiences getting to where he is today.
Robert Downey Jr. is a name synonymous with Hollywood success, but his journey wasn't always smooth. He started young, making his acting debut at just 5 years old, and quickly rose to fame in the 1980s. But behind the scenes, Downey was battling a growing drug addiction that would nearly derail his entire career. His struggle with addiction began with marijuana and cocaine, but it soon escalated to more dangerous substances like heroin and prescription drugs. This battle not only caused numerous legal troubles and multiple arrests, but also led to a significant decline in his career. Despite his talent, Downey became unreliable, missing out on roles and getting fired from the TV series Ally McBeal due to drug-related issues. Yet, Downey's story is one of remarkable resilience. After hitting rock bottom, he fought to reclaim his life and career, staying in court-ordered treatment and eventually maintaining his sobriety since 2003. His comeback started with The Singing Detective in 2003 and reached new heights with his iconic role as Iron Man. Today, Downey is celebrated not just for his acting, but for his incredible recovery and return to stardom. Number 2, Lindsay Lohan.
Now, we see enough of her in the press, but we rarely see her talking about her problems. However, in her first interview in 5 months, troubled star Lindsay Lohan has talked about her upcoming stint in rehab.
Aren't you supposed to be in rehab now?
Do you not watch anything that goes on?
I do.
A tabloid now?
Now here's what
May 2nd.
I was under the May 2nd.
Yes.
And how long will you be in rehab?
3 months.
Lindsay Lohan's journey through Hollywood has been anything but easy. She started as a child star in The Parent Trap and became a household name with Mean Girls. But as her fame grew, so did her struggles with addiction, moving to Los Angeles at 18 without a solid support system. She quickly got caught up in a whirlwind of partying, drugs, and alcohol. By her early 20s, Lindsay was battling severe addiction issues, openly discussing her struggles with drugs like cocaine and methamphetamine. This period of her life was marked by multiple DUI arrests, countless rehab stints, and a cycle of relapse and recovery that seemed never-ending. Her addiction didn't just affect her personal life, it also took a heavy toll on her career. Lindsay's off-screen behavior became notorious. She was often late to shoots and required constant supervision, which disrupted productions and strained relationships with her colleagues. But Lindsay Lohan is a story of resilience. After hitting rock bottom, she began attending 12-step meetings at 21, acknowledging that alcohol was her gateway to harder substances. Today, she's made a significant comeback, even starring in a Netflix movie in 2022. Lohan now embraces a healthier lifestyle, crediting meditation and cooking for helping her stay on track. Number 1, Charlie Sheen.
I understand.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you went solo. Hey, you had fun with it, right?
I had more than fun. I had me with it.
Yeah, I like the way you go to Ustream and you see, right when you go to Ustream.com.
Charlie Sheen, once the highest paid actor on TV, has had a wild ride through fame, fortune, and personal battles. You probably remember him as the star of 2.5 Men, but behind the scenes, his life was spiraling out of control. Charlie has a highly publicized history of substance abuse, including a stroke in 1998 after overdosing on cocaine and trying to flee rehabilitation just days later. In 2010, things got worse when he was found intoxicated in a trashed New York hotel room and admitted to using cocaine. But here's the thing. Charlie Sheen is nothing if not resilient. After years of living in chaos, he made the tough decision to step back and focus on getting clean. Man, it wasn't easy. Battling addiction is like fighting an invisible enemy, but Charlie dug deep and committed to his sobriety. Now, after 6 years of staying sober, he's making a comeback. And guess what? He's even working with Chuck Lorre again, the very guy who fired him from 2.5 Men back in 2011. It's a huge deal, showing just how far Charlie has come in mending fences and rebuilding his career. So while his past was rocky, Charlie Sheen's story isn't over yet. He's back, sober, and ready to show the world that he's still got it. These stories are heartbreaking examples of how drug addiction can rob even the most talented people of their potential. However, recovery is possible. You don't have to face it alone. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.